So it's kind of late, but I want to do messages for the collective today. So it shouldn't matter, right? For the next couple of days anyways. So, today was a doozy. I really said a doozy. Wow. Alright. Any messages for the collective? Is there any... Should I have counted that? I'm doing it. Is there any messages for the collective? 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 You came out. Alright, you came out a second time, so I know that one for sure. Alright, let's start with that. So, this one was no, look. Where'd you go? Onta? Am I tripping? No. Okay, this was the first one that fell out, and I was like, no, I think I didn't start yet. But then it came again, so I know for sure that one had to do with it. So, number 1, 12, masculine principle. 11, pioneering spirit. Enlightenment, Zeta Reticuli. 38, black lead, patterning. Alright, this is the first one that came out when I first started doing it, so I'm going to do this one first. Can you see? There. Alright, 38. I like how my stand just fell. I really like that a lot. Alright. 38. The secret Orion Society, fighting the negative forces, was called the Black League. They operated covertly and were a major force for inspiration and hope. A pop culture metaphor would be like the Jedi Knights from Star Wars. You have had an experience with this group, and this latent tendency of resisting authority or fighting for peace is a deep karmic pattern. Today, it is important that this polarity of us versus them be healed. Shift your focus away from light and dark scenarios. Begin to see reality in a unified way, with all manifestations being an equal and valuable part of creation itself. I'm just looking at the card. The Black League is a term referring to the resistance groups that were formed during the darkest times in Orion. These groups were usually run by priests who practiced vegan mysticism and who were also warriors as well. These groups ultimately helped change the consciousness within the Orion system so it could transform, but not without a struggle. They also had to learn the folly of living in polarity, which is what you do when you fight darkness. So even though the Black League and the Orion civilization as a whole eventually transcended polarity and healed itself, many beings who had lives there brought this polarized energy to Earth, and it's still playing out here. On Earth, we can see it playing out through secret societies who believe they fight for freedom from tyranny, religious extremist groups who believe they are liberating people, and any group of person who views reality in a polarized way and fights against the side they label as negative. Polarized basically means good and bad, and saying that there is no such thing as good and bad. So, like, if you say, oh, that's negative, I'm fighting against that because that's bad. But it's bad to you, but it could not be bad to others. So that's polarity, and that's what you really want to stay away from and stay kind of neutral in most things. This only perpetuates polarity. If this card comes up in the reading, it usually comes up with other Orion cards or other cards with a similar theme. It is most likely suggested that you look at your view in reality and see how you might see it in a polarized way. It is encouraging you to begin to view reality as a more of a unified field, and that there is a greater balance that perhaps you cannot see. It is, excuse me while I touch my boob and read. It is encouraging you to begin to view reality as more of a unified field, and that there is a greater balance that perhaps you cannot see. It is asking you to totally transform your life from one of polarity to one of unity. Alright. Number 12. Let's see. Ancient Lyrian civilization is often described. Number 12. Lyra, past. Is often described as reflecting the masculine principle. As the civilization grew, it moved out into the galaxy, settling planets, sometimes engaging in war, and seeking ways to perpetuate the species. They were the builders, protectors, and architects of a society. Both masculine and feminine principles exist within everyone. It is important that they remain in balance. This card asks you to work with your inner male energy. Listen to what it has to say and embrace it. This will help heal an old karmic pattern from the days of ancient Lyra. Lyra was the first civilization that expressed polarity. Here we go with polarity again. So, it's true, they are similar. So, sensing a theme here. Lyra was the first civilization that expressed polarity, setting the template for our exploration and healing of polarity for millennia afterward. One way they expressed polarity was through their masculine focus on external reality and in their attempts to manipulate physical reality according to their desires. Again, this could be a positive or negative expression, depending on the intentions behind the actions. If you have this card in your reading, it is asking you to look at your inner and outer male-female balance. If you see where there is imbalance, work to bring those energies back into alignment. Again, not one way or the other. Balance, polarity. Right? No. Keep in mind that this is the card of the warrior. In ancient times, you most likely had a lot of experience as a warrior, and may still have those qualities within your nature. Look at how those qualities can be used constructively instead of destructively. There are always times when the warrior energy is useful. Attaining the mastery of a true warrior, even a spiritual one, means understanding when to use that energy for the greater good. If you need inspiration about what this really means, look to the ancient text Bhagavad Gita and the teachings given to the warrior Arjuna by the great being Krishna. I didn't read that book. So, only got a couple pages, so I need to get into it. Number 11. Pioneering spirit. Right there. There's two right next to each other. The early beginnings of the Lyrian civilization were filled with excitement about exploring the universe. They expanded their colonies rapidly, and the civilization grew quickly. These were the first forefathers of human heritage, having a connection to this early Lyrian time. I need to stop. Can you stop, please? There I go again. Alright, I'm trying to get close to the light. That's all I'm doing. They were the first forefathers of human heritage, have a connection to this early Lyrian time. Having a connection to this early Lyrian time, you also have a connection to this pioneering spirit. The spirit compels you to explore both the physical and metaphysical worlds. While this is a healthy pursuit, the lessons of the Lyrians have shown that this is a desire for exploration must also be balanced with daily life. It asks you that your explorations be a way to embrace physical life, not escape it. Again, talking about balancing, but this actually hit home for me. It asks, have shown that the desire for exploration must also be balanced with daily life. It asks that your explorations be